Welcome to the Infinite Wealth Podcast. I'm Cameron Christensen, along with our co-host Anthony Faso. We just wrapped up our interview with Tammi Brannen, and she is the founder of the Blueprint Process. And what she does is she helps professionals identify their purpose to create their ideal careers and pursue their greatest successes. And we've known her for a while. Right? We've known Tammi for several years, and I don't think that kind of introduction really does justice to what she does.
Yeah, I was disappointed in the introduction you gave.
Thank you. Because we've heard her speak many, many times over the years, and every time I hear her, I'm like, man, that was good. There's so much information in there. And today, what she talks about is we touch on kind of the mindset piece, and us individuals as entrepreneurs, we kind of go through these swings, right? Of I'm amazing, I can conquer the world, to man, I'm terrible at this, I suck at that, right? And so she identifies and gives us some opportunities or some strategies to really stop and hit that reset button when we start going down that negative thought pattern. And for me, man, I kind of vacillate between those two ideas almost, multiple times a day. And so I loved this conversation. I really enjoyed having her on, and I think you guys will too.
I tell you what, I really enjoyed this interview, and she provided a lot of good nuggets.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one that really stuck home to me was she mentioned that we can easily block time to exercise.
Yeah.
Right. So we're doing maybe a half hour exercise or jazzercise, whatever exercise you want to do. That's not difficult, but to spend 5 minutes doing nothing, that's very difficult to do.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I've never had the thought of just unplugging for 5 minutes at any point during the day whatsoever, right? It's always go, go, go. So,
you know what? And I have had that time where I wanted to take the 5 minutes, because if you look at if you want to be successful, look at what successful people do. And if you look, a lot of them exercise, they read, they eat well, and they meditate, or they take some time to really do nothing. And to be honest, I've tried doing that, and it is hard.
yeah.
Like 5 minutes doing nothing it's very difficult to do nothing. Right. So I've tried maybe starting with 3 minutes, and really working my way up. But she challenged me is I take that time to do the exercise and do some reading.
Yeah.
Why is it so difficult to take 5 minutes? And what she also challenged, don't just take 5 minutes maybe at the beginning of the day or the end, is maybe unplugging a little bit in the middle of the day. Which, again, it's 5 minutes. Like, how hard can that be? But I'm going to try it, and I know it's going to be hard. And another thing I like what she said is we typically have these activities that we do on the regular, and she talked a lot about having gratitude. And I've been using the 5 minute journal, which is a great way to start. It talks about what you're thankful for and kind of what fantastic that happened that day. But you know what? I don't do it on the weekends. And what she's talking about is, we need to get in that routine, keep our mind focused, and spending, I can't spend 5 minutes on a Saturday or Sunday doing a little journal. So that's something that I'm going to do. And man, she had so many great nuggets. I'm really glad that we had her, and I really think you're going to enjoy this episode.
Absolutely. One last thing here real quick is that made me think of a quote. I think it's by Henry Ford, but he says, "Take time to think. It's the hardest thing to do." Anyways, thought I'd share that with you guys. Enjoy this episode. Tammi, thank you so much for joining us. Anthony and I have known you for quite a while now, and we've been talking about you a lot lately, probably over the last year or so. Your name has come up quite often, to be honest.
My ears have been burning.
Yeah. So
Has it been good?
Yes.
Always.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
And the reason it is because we're talking to clients often, right, on a daily basis, and we're talking to them about their experience. And what I would say is, I think that kind of mindset is one of the most important things. And I think people, or I've seen and witnessed people really going through it over the last couple of years.
For sure.
And so we're excited to have you on here today to just kind of touch on some of these topics that you help people with kind of in your day to day practice.
Excellent. I'm all about it. I feel like mindset, man, without mindset, nothing else happens.
Absolutely.
Well, Tammi, I want to jump right into it, Tammi. What do you say to somebody who says, "Oh, I can't do that. I'm not good at blank."
Yeah, I hear that a lot actually. And I have an interesting caveat to this answer. So I want to give the caveat first.
Yeah.
The challenge is that some people aren't open to considering a different definition of self. If they're not open to considering a different, more positive definition of self, I got nothing. I can't convince them of that. I can't wrench their brain. I'm not into that. So if that's the case, I end up not interacting with those people because I can't do anything for them. I'm interested in working with someone who's actually open to a different interpretation of self. If they are, I basically would say to that response, let's start to research. Let's see exactly what you're good at. And then let's look at this concern that you're not good at such and such. It's possible that this thing that you're not good at, like someone was describing the other day, IT is like, oh, to them.
Were you talking to my wife?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, there are many people that feel that way. And then, of course, there are other people who it's like, oh, they love it. They love getting into IT. So it's not that the person like your wife or people who are not good at IT need to take some classes and, bone up on their skills. Nope. It's not about that old adage that we should work on our weaknesses. Yeah. It's not about that, right? We're each strong in certain areas. And I refer to it as your blueprint. So we got to get in and figure out what that blueprint is. And we may find out that, yeah, you're right. You're not good at that thing, but it's because you're not supposed to be. So you delegate that thing. But then what we really want to focus in on is, what are you good at? Identify that and build your business, your life, your work around what you're naturally good at.
Tammi, so you'd mentioned that there's some people have that closed mindset. Like, look, this is me. I'm not going to change. Right.
So sad.
But I got to imagine there's some people that feel that way, but it's got to be because maybe they don't know that there's a different way, right? They might be open to it, but so how can somebody make that change? Or look, they've been told by their parents or, society, look, that they are this type of person, or this is the best they're going to do, but they want a little bit more. But how can they kind of help change that mindset to be more open?
It's a great question. And I appreciate where you're coming from, because it is really hard to write people off, for sure. And what I've seen is that someone who at one point is closed-minded to a different interpretation of self may later on open up to the possibility. And usually it's something that happens in their external world. Maybe they come across a trusted advocate who is showing them, look, you're way better than you think you are. And that may be all it takes to open them up. But for the person that you're describing, who has been told a lot that they suck, that they just aren't good, they're not showing up, they're not bringing their A game, whatever. For people that are like that, have had those experiences, but still have this internal something or other that says to them that there is more, there's a potential, there's a future, there's a vision that's more than what you're currently experiencing. What those people are hanging on to dear life for is a belief in something more than what they currently have. I love those people. And that's where diving in and researching the talents that they've naturally been given, their inherent skills, StrengthsFinder is a good example. You could take something like StrengthsFinder in 30 minutes online and come up with your top 5 strengths. That alone might just give you a little bit more of a purchase hold into this mountain of self-esteem. Just a little bit of information might give you that hope and belief. Okay, maybe there is something that's worthy in me already. I don't have to go out and get it. It's already within me. And then you start to use those things. So let's say you take StrengthsFinder and you get your top 5 things. Then you're on the lookout constantly. Okay, today, talk about mindset. You start your day saying, okay, these are my top 5 things. I am going to, instead of focusing on self, and what I need and what I'm struggling with and stuff like that, I'm going to focus on how can I give? How can I shine my light? These are my 5 ways, at least the 5 that I know of. These are my 5 ways to shine my light. How am I going to do that today? Thank you for showing me, bringing me ways that I can give that light today.
What are some examples of strengths? You said Strength Finder. Number one, I'm not really familiar with it. If you wouldn't mind kind of touching on what that is. But
Sure.
if somebody does go there, what's maybe 1 or 2 strengths that they might identify and walk away with?
Yeah, it's a great idea, by the way. So you can get a book, StrengthsFinder 2.0. The author, the creator of the quiz and the writer of the book, his name is Tom Rath, R-A-T-H. And 2.0 is actually like a second version. There may be even more now. And at the end of the book itself is actually not that long, because the other half of the book are all the strengths that he has identified and kind of categorized. Now, I have to put in a professional disclaimer that this isn't all of who you are, right? It's just 5. There's so much more to you, but at least it's a starting place. So just know that it's just a starting place. It's just the tip of the iceberg. The other challenge that I have with it is that there are going to be other people who have the same top 5 strengths as you. And so it leads you to believe that maybe you're like just a bunch of other people, which isn't true at all. You're one of a kind. But it's the beginning, right? It's better than nothing. So in this book, the StrengthsFinder 2.0, you have a little bit of his philosophy in the beginning. And then the second half, he goes into greater detail about what each of the strengths are. I think there are 30 some, forgive me for not knowing specifically, different strengths that he talks about and fleshes out. And then there's a code for a quiz that you can take online and actually identify the top 5. I've seen companies use this to great effect. They pay for the book, they pay for the quiz for all their people, and then all their people post it on their office wall, door, whatever. So people can kind of know, hey, I've got a project that needs this particular strength that I don't have. I'm going to go and team up with this other person. So, sorry, Cameron, to your second question, which is, what are some examples of some strengths that people might have? I don't know why this one is coming to me, because it's not one that I have. It's actually, it's an acronym, WOO, woo, but it's not what you might think. It's winning others over. So what we find is that there are some people in this world who have this amazing magnetic charisma about them, and they can literally win others over to their cause, their agenda, themselves as people in like 2.3 seconds. These people are amazing. They can work a room. Often we see politicians having this.
That's just what I was thinking.
That's a good one.
Yep.
Now,
So that's a,
is there one for like hair care?
no.
Okay. All right, Cameron. Well, I'm sure there's something on there that you're gonna find.
Well, what's funny is, as you were talking about the 30 different strengths, I was starting to think, I'm like, I got one. Right? Maybe it's just self-deprecating or whatever it is, but really, I think one of those, the advantage of kind of taking that test is having that third party kind of identify or pull out some of your strengths. Because I think us as individuals and entrepreneurs or whatever, we tend to focus on some of our shortcomings more so than some of our strengths. And what I'm hearing you say so far is that, that's not what you really want to do to kind of grow, right? Is you want to focus on your strengths and pour into those.
However, you said something that actually exhibits a strength.
Cameron
Yep, I know. Are you okay with that? Can I keep going?
No, it's good. I'm just glad we record this so we can,
you can feel better about your partner.
Yeah.
So when Cameron was talking, he was saying that what he often does, and he refers to, Cameron, you were referring to other entrepreneurs, and it's absolutely true. I agree. I see this a lot in entrepreneurs, this constant, it's not self-deprecating though. And this is where the strength is. It goes back to the growth mindset. If you are not self-aware and self-evaluating constantly, you are not aware of areas where you can grow. I don't mean adding other skills that are not natural to you. That's not what I mean. What I mean is getting better as a thinker, getting better as a husband, as a business owner, as whatever areas that you want to grow in. There's so many, but it's not bad that you look for things to grow in. It's part of a growth mindset. We have to become aware in humility of the ways in which we can get better and constantly be soaking up new and better ways to be the person that we are. Even those natural skills that come to us in raw form. And Tom Rath talks about this in StrengthsFinder. It takes time and experience. I believe Malcolm Gladwell talks about 10,000 hours. It takes us lots of practice to take what we've been given in raw form and actually become proficient with it. So growing is awesome. Putting ourselves down is not. Focusing on our areas where we're not supposed to actually be strong, like IT or haircutting. But looking for ways in which we can be better at what we're doing and who we are, that is actually a really good thing.
Now, when we're working on some of these things, we can work on a skill or be better at whatever, at a skill. But you're mentioning also kind of working on our mindset. Like, why is mindset so important? I mean, isn't it really just being able to accomplish that skill?
Good question. Actually, Cameron, I got to go back to something Cameron was saying. That's okay, Anthony. I'm applauding him quite a bit right now. So
I know it's freaking me out a little bit.
Keep it coming, Tammi. Keep it coming.
I'm not used to it.
I'm trying to make up for the diss I gave him earlier. Okay. So what Cameron was talking about is really, really important, and that is mindset creates the sense of self-deprecation. If you've got a poor mindset, you're going to put yourself down a lot. And oh, by the way, you'll put down a bunch of other people also. You'll be judgmental, critical, etc. Good mindset means instead of that, you're not cocky and arrogant, but you have a healthy self-esteem. I refer to it as humble confidence. Humble confidence. So mindset contributes to that. Mindset is what makes people either run for the hills or come calling. So if you find that a lot of people, for some reason, are leaving you in droves, it's probably this. If you find that the success that you believe can be true in your business or in your life isn't happening, it's probably this. If your relationships, your marriage, your parenting, your relationships with your kids, even with your pet, if that seems disharmonious, it's all here. So something I read just recently, I've heard this before, but I love this. It's such a simple thing to remember. Your inward determines your outward. That's it. So if you don't like your outward, that's it. You just got to go here.
So just if you're listening to the audio, when she's saying this, she's pointing to her head. So from our listeners, that means like her mindset. And so Cameron, it's not her hair.
Oh,
she's pointing at.
Her hair is gorgeous, by the way.
It's
Oh,
amazing.
thank you. Thank you. I'll give you my hairstylist if you want. Clear over here in Corvallis, Oregon. Come on over.
Flight.
Right.
So kind of what I hear you saying is that mindset, and what I would add in there, maybe self-esteem and or confidence are kind of all in that thing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And right, as a business owner, is you're talking about some of these things, and I actually feel like I fluctuate between both of these often, right? Like, oh man, why is this so hard? I'm not very good at this. And then some days you show up and you're like, man, I'm taking over the world, right? This is awesome.
I'm awesome.
Exactly. Is there a way for somebody when they're kind of going down that spiral, right, to kind of stop and pull themselves out? Do you have any suggestions there?
Yeah. So mostly because I know exactly what you're talking about, and I do the same thing. man, I'm awesome to man, I suck.
Yeah.
Whew, huge pendulum swing
just
there.
like that. Yeah.
Yep. And by the way,
I'm there to pick you up, Anthony.
and by the way, neither one of those is right. Neither one of them. They're both incorrect for different reasons. I suck is wrong. I'm awesome is also wrong. And that's where humble confidence is a different look. I'm awesome suggests that there's nothing you can't solve. It suggests that it's all you. No one else is helping you out. Nothing else is helping you out. Entrepreneurs struggle often with that sense of isolation, like they're the only ones. They're the ones that can solve the problem. They get frustrated and judgmental because their team isn't stepping up to the game. So if anyone's going to do it, I'm going to have to do it. If it's going to be done right, I got to do it. You know, that kind of mindset, that lone wolf mentality, that's on one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is the I suck mentality. You know, neither one of them are right. It's humble confidence, which is, in the way that I describe it, I shine my light. The stuff that's been given to me, I use that. And everyone else uses theirs too. And together, we are better. Together, we create the full picture. And I know you guys with your clients work on that. It's a partnership. It's a team. It's not you guys as the heavy coming in and telling people, you know, this is the way it is. You guys work as a partnership with your clients to help them fulfill their financial future. So neither one, is right. So to answer your question, do you like how I take a big circuitous route before I get back to the actual question?
I love it. Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad, because that's the way I do it. So your question though was, what if you find yourself going down that path? And by the way, as you mentioned, Cameron, if you're going down the one path of ISAC, you're gonna do the swing. You're absolutely gonna do the swing. You don't just go down one path. It is the same path, actually. From ISAC to I'm the best, it's the same exact path, which is that sense of isolation. So you're either experiencing the imposter syndrome, I suck, I'm not good enough, whatever, to I'm the best, nobody else can do it like me. I wish y'all were like me. I wish you could be as good as I am. I mean, we don't say those things very consciously, but man, there are programs that run, myself included. So the first step in anything is always awareness. Sadly, often that comes from someone else. Someone outside of us is going, ugh. You know, it might be running for the hills, whatever. There's usually some painful experience in someone's life in order for them to feel that, in order for them to recognize, oh man. And I was sitting like right here a couple of years ago, and I realized the number one thing I needed to work on for that year, I'd been encouraged by someone, by the way, to find one thing to work on for an entire year. It's fascinating. And I kid you not, in tears when the answer that came to me was humility. In tears, because I was shocked and disgusted to learn that, oh my gosh, I'm not humble. Shocked and disgusted. So, and I was doing the swing thing. It's not stable. Neither one of them is stable. So awareness is first. Then once you recognize, okay, this is an issue, you're seeing yourself clearly, almost like in a mirror for the first time. And it's a scary, yucky, I get it. I've been there before. I get there still. I know I'll have more of them. That self-awareness, that clarity that I've not been the best that I can be. There's a way that I can be better. Then what I love, and I actually just gave you one idea. There are many, many, many ways that you can get better and stop going down that path. One of them is to recognize that this thing could be what you work on the entire year. So like for me, humility, I actually got myself into a program, and that there are many programs that you can do where I was daily working on it. I think daily work, getting to the mindset question, is it. Daily, consistent effort. How many people, just ask yourself this, everyone who's listening or watching, how many of you, or let me ask this differently, how much time and how diligent, how disciplined are you in working out every day or 3 times a week or whatever? But do you also have some kind of daily or consistent habit where you're doing mental work? It's so easy for us to do physical work, diet, working out, whatever. but we often shun or get uncomfortable by or avoid mental work. And there's a variety of ways you can do it. There's no one right way. The trick is just, I'm going to use Nike's commercial because I love it. Just do it. Just find a way and frickin' do it. For me, I love variety. So I noticed when I started working on my brain that I needed a change up. I couldn't do the same thing again and again and again. I got tired of it. I got bored of it, disinterested. And then, of course, I stopped doing it. That doesn't help. So I change it up often. Whenever I notice that, okay, here I go. It's the time for me to sit down and do my mental work. If I'm doing that, that's a sign to me that I need to change it up. It's more important that you change the method than you stop doing it, experience that interruption, because it takes twice as long to get back into the game again, just like working out or diet. So it's best to do whatever you need to do to experience consistency. The more you experience consistency in daily work, and I would recommend daily, not even taking weekends off. I used to take weekends off. So then Monday, right? Monday's already got some issues because it's Monday. Even vacations, because the day you get back already has that heavy feel to it, especially if you don't like what you're doing. But if you do your mental practice daily, whether it's weekend or vacation, you'll experience fluidity, ease, and effectiveness. If you stop and start because of weekend and vacations and whatever else that might be happening in your world, it will be heavy, clunky, and ineffective. It'll be sometimes good, sometimes bad. What you're looking for from daily consistent work is lightness, a sense of peace, and confidence.
Wow, that's good.
That was good. And I was relating it to working out, right? I mean, that's the closest thing that I have, just that physical activity and getting into a routine every week. Man, I feel good.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it feels good to get up early, get the workout in, start the day. You feel like you're beating everybody. Right. And then, but the mental side of it, I've never really done. Can you give an example of maybe some activities or books or something that people can maybe reach out to or look for?
Yeah, absolutely. And like I say, there's a bajillion.
Yeah.
All from like meditation apps that you can get on your phone. Meditation is a common one that people will use. A lot of people believe in a higher power, and so they incorporate prayer. I absolutely would include that in terms of mental work, mindset work. I do myself. I'll tell you the challenge. Often, and I promise I'm going to get around and answer your question, Cameron. I promise.
I know you'll get there. You're just going to take the long route.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm waiting for it patiently.
I'm so glad you guys are patient. Often entrepreneurs are really famous for this. They'll do something in the morning and sometimes they'll do something in the evening. But when are our biggest challenges mentally?
During the day.
Yeah. They're not in the peace and quiet of our home in the morning and the night when the day is over. They're not then. It's as soon as the phones start ringing. As soon as you open your email, as soon as you have client meetings, or as soon as your boss comes out of his office and at you, whatever. Or if you're staying at home and raising your kids, as soon as they get up, right? Yeah. That's when the challenges come. So here's what I do. And part of the reason why I do this is I refer to myself as a multiplier mind. And this is the thing. Multiplier minds are like, they're like over here and over there, over there, over there. And typically these people are the ones that can handle multiple things simultaneously. Their brain is constantly shifting. People have a hard time keeping up with them. So because of that kind of brain that I have, sitting still for like longer than 5 minutes is a real big ask. I'm not saying I don't do it, but it's a big ask. And so what I do instead, I do have longer times in the morning and in the evening, but pockmarked throughout my day, I have little 5-minute sessions where I shut everything down. Sometimes I'll lay flat on my back on the floor and close my eyes. And I don't refer to what I'm doing as meditation. I refer to more what I'm doing as praying, just because that's my thing. That's what works for me. But 5 minutes of unplugging in the middle of the day does wonders for your mindset. Because our mind is good at solving problems. really good at solving problems. But remember how we were talking earlier about your inward determines your outward, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if in my brain I'm solving problems, what becomes my outward? More problems.
Mm.
It's like a seed bed in your brain.
Yeah.
Whatever you think about, you attract. So if I'm perseverating on a problem to try to solve it, which especially as entrepreneurs, we do that all the time, or as a mom, a dad, it doesn't matter. We're constantly working at solving problems, which is great. It's one of the things that's in our blueprint. It's something we're supposed to do. It helps us add value. It's all good. But I refer to it as like a basketball player that needs to sit down. Sometimes it needs to sit down. It needs to take a break. And coming onto the court is the mindset, the peace, the calm. Because if I hold peace and calm in my brain, which trust me is challenging sometimes, then what will I experience in my outward? I had someone say to me, he knows that I don't watch the news on purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he said, well, that's why you're always happy. I was like, but I can see that as being part of the reason. But I guarantee you the biggest reason is because I take those 5 minutes and I unplug from the chaos, the world, the problems, the solution. I unplug from all of it. I try. I'm not always successful. I don't want to make you guys think that I'm perfect at this. It's a battle. Those 5 minutes, it's like a little bit like a tennis match. Problem, calm, right? What I love to do is I take a problem, whatever I'm experiencing or dealing with, or whatever, sometimes what my client is dealing with, and I think of the opposite. I'm not trying to solve it, but I'm thinking of an opposite truth. So, for example, let's say someone is experiencing lack, debt, right? I'm sure you run into that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, guess what's on their brain all the time?
Debt.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know you guys know what I'm talking about. It's not just when the bills come in the mail or over email. They're always
that constant pressure, that monkey on your back.
I tell clients like it's suffocating. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know you guys have had your own experience with, I'm sure you have, just in your life and growing up, you know what that feels like, that monkey on your back for whatever reason. And so now here's what's a challenge. We think we're being responsible to think about it because it's a problem that needs to be solved. And it is our responsibility to solve it. Our name's on the debt. So we feel like we're being good. We're doing the responsible, logical thing. We feel like we're being a good steward of our money, our financial situation. Well, if you can't solve it today, if you're doing everything you can, if you're taking, because you've worked with Cameron and Anthony and you're doing everything you can to follow their strategy, there's nothing more you can do about it. It doesn't matter how much you think about it. It's not going to go away until it goes away. So instead of thinking about it, I think of this space between our ears. Sorry, I forget some people aren't watching. The space between our ears is our most valuable real estate. If you're going to invest in anything, you should watch what goes in here, because whatever goes in here is, like I said, it's like a seed and it's planting itself and it's going to produce either good or bad. So be super careful with what's in here. And that unplugging helps you to do that. Those 5 minutes every day. And like I said, one thing that I do is, okay, let's say that this problem is debt, lack. Oh my goodness. It's like when it rains, it pours. So I already have a bunch of debt, but I'm not making enough money to pay it off. I'm even worried that I have enough money to follow the strategy that you guys have so lovingly put together for me. So all those fears are just weighing like the monkey on your back kind of thing, that heaviness. So what do? I think I force my brain, I wrench it around. It's like I'm wrestling it into abundance. So that's challenging, right? Because if you're not experiencing fiscal abundance, it's hard to think of abundance. So what else is abundant in your life? This is a fabulous search. What else is abundant in your life? Yeah, I get it. Financial, no. But what about love? What about relationships? What about support? What about work? Stuff that you love at work? What about ideas? There's so many. You can even look out at nature. Like right now, I'm looking out at I've got this lovely big window, and I'm looking at trees, and the trees have a crap ton of leaves on them right now. And so I can just kind of get into. I'm not saying it's easy. I can just kind of get into the abundance of nature, especially right now. In the summer, and here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest, not everything's brown. It's still green, right? Because it rains plenty. So rain is in abundance here. I can think about that and just start to really visualize. Like, I know what it sounds like when the rain is just freaking torrential downpour here. I experience it all the time. I know what it sounds like. I know what it looks like. I even know what it feels like. So I can really just sink into that and think of abundance as the truth, making abundance my reality, even if it's just a moment. And I know as soon as I set a timer on my phone. I don't know, for some reason that works for my 5 minutes. I set a timer on my phone. As soon as that 5 minutes is over, I know your brain's probably going to go right back into debt. I will guarantee you, though, and this is what you're looking for. I said this earlier. The more you work on your mindset, the things that you can expect are calm, peace, and confidence. So the hope that I would like to give you, your ROI, if you will, return on investment for this effort, these 5 minutes of unplugging throughout the day, is increased calm, peace, and confidence. And I guarantee you, especially if you do consistent 5 minutes, not only throughout the day, but every day, to start off with, just do like 3. That's what I recommend for my clients, is just start with 3 a day. I do one like mid-morning, one midday, and one mid-afternoon. And then as you get that habit built, go ahead and add more 5 minutes in, but do it slowly. Again, the point is consistency. The most important point is consistency. And as you do it, they'll start to, it's almost like they reach out with their hands on either side. The 5 minutes, just imagine them with arms on either side. They're reaching out and touching each other. So they extend. It's like they're creating a chain throughout the day of calm, peace, and confidence.
I love that. And I too would have to set my phone for a 5-minute timer, because I think if I laid on the ground, I'd fall asleep.
I understand. Sometimes my cat gets on me. Yeah, it's a mess.
No, but what I was hearing you say was really you're giving us some examples or some ways to kind of take control of our thoughts, right? That will help us kind of reset what we're trying to do, that then becomes kind of us influencing kind of our environment. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Oh, for sure. To me, it's the only thing we can control. So why not? If we can't control the money that's coming in, we certainly can't control the money that's going out. Well, sometimes we can. Sometimes we can't, right?
Yeah.
But if there's so much we can't control the government. There's so much stuff we can't control in our world. Why do we try? Why do we perseverate on those things? The only thing, literally the only thing you can consistently govern is right between your ears. So why not establish a consistent daily habit where you do exactly that? It is the only way to actually control your outward, is to control your inward. I have a video. If you promise me to remind me, I'll send it to you. It's like less than 5 minutes. And it uses the analogy of a bed and breakfast for your brain. And it's neurologists, it uses neurologist findings that there are actually only room for 4 to 7 things in our brains at any given time. So if you take that concept, that's it, that it's not like you have to wipe out every negative thought. You don't have to control a bajillion thoughts. You literally only have room for 4 to 7 thoughts at a time. So that's all you have to try to control and manage and weed out of your garden.
So what I'm hearing is when those negative thoughts pop in, what you need to do is pop in some positive thoughts. Think about the abundance and some of the good things in your life, and that's going to fill up your 4 to 7.
Exactly. And if you fill up your 4 to 7, no vacancy. There's no room.
I like that. You got me taking a lot of notes here.
That might be our title. No vacancy.
No vacancy. Yeah, no vacancy for debt, lack, fear, loss of control.
Man, yeah.
So,
As what you talk about is devotions, right? Came to mind for
yeah.
myself, and also working out, right? I mean, both of those have a similar effect on me. Is that's kind of the reset, right, for the
Yeah.
day, right? As you go in there and you kind of are able to kind of reset and let everything go. But man, I was also thinking of my wife. Is she sounds like she's similar to you, right? Is she doesn't read the news, right? She does devotion, she does those things, and man, she falls asleep in about 5 seconds.
Isn't
Mm.
that interesting?
Yeah, right. I lay there
Yeah.
for 20, 30 minutes
Right.
before I fall asleep. We try to shut everything off. So,
Right. Exactly. I totally get it. Yeah. The thing to do at night is gratitudes. Oh, I love gratitudes.
mm,
And all you need are 4 to 7.
I love it.
The trick with gratitudes is to get specific. Too many people do the Thanksgiving variety. I'm
Oh,
grateful
okay.
for, right? It's too general. Great. If it doesn't elicit, have you ever felt gratitude?
Yeah, I think so.
Isn't that interesting to think about? You can say it, but do you feel it? The objective is to feel it. If you don't feel gratitude, you might as well not do it.
Hmm.
Mm.
So, so one of the things that I encourage people to do is to get specific, because often the reason why they're not feeling gratitude is it's too general, it's too broad. I'm grateful for my health, I'm grateful for my family, my work, whatever. Well, what about it today? What happened today are you grateful for? I had a guy, um, his wife every morning would make him coffee before she goes out the door. Okay, that's cool. Here's the kicker. She hates coffee, hates the smell of it, the taste of it. And yet, because of the amount that she loved him, she made it for him. Touching the grounds. I mean, talk about when you open that canister, whew, if you don't like coffee, I know for myself included, I love coffee. So I love that smell. But
Yeah.
for someone who doesn't like that smell, and then it starts to brew, before she races out the door, she's smelling it, but she's doing it anyway. So because he started to do this, what about today am I grateful for? If you have a really sucky day, you're going to find stuff like that. The stuff that you've taken for granted that's going amazingly. Have you ever had someone in your life who just had some incredible thing happen and they're focused on the bad? Like, wait,
Yeah.
what about that? But they've just glossed right on over it.
Yeah.
It's what we do because we find the problem and solve it. Find the problem and solve it.
Mm.
Tammy, I've loved and really enjoyed this conversation,
Yeah.
and I'm sure
Me
our
too.
listeners have too. Where can they find you, right? If somebody would like to reach out to you and kind of see or have a conversation with you, where should they go?
Well, they really can't miss me. All you got to do is put Tammi Brannen into the Google and you'll have a ton of stuff come up. Blueprintprocess.com is the name of my company, and that's the website. You can find out whatever you want to find out there. You can also just text me. Honestly, we were talking about this before we started to record. I'm completely fine with people having my cell phone because let's face it, it's so much easier to text somebody than to look their website up. I don't know why. We're so spoiled. Anyway, my cell phone is 541 501 7020. Texting me and asking me to talk to me does not obligate you to anything. You don't have to pay me for it. I talk to people all the time for an hour for free. So I will talk to you for an hour for free. We'll discuss whatever you need to discuss. My goal is going to be to give you value in that hour. I'm not really into selling. I'm not,
Yeah.
gross. So just reach out if you like some of the stuff that I've said and you want some help. I can download stuff for you in an hour that will change your life. It'll seriously, mindset will change your life. It'll change the results. And there's nothing else that does it as effectively. So I welcome your texts and phone calls or whatever you want to throw my way.
Hey, Tammi, what is the blueprint?
Mm. Oh, you just asked like the mother of all questions. Do you realize?
Yeah.
Finally, we got one right. Finally.
Yay. So I think of a blueprint. Obviously, we know the typical definition of a blueprint of a building, but actually, I think it's a great analogy. It serves as an analogy to what the blueprint process is all about. Each one of us I believe, has a custom designed, 100% unique blueprint. Just like the blueprint of a building, we should use this puppy to build our lives around. When we don't, we're missing the mark and we start to feel it intrinsically, deeply, painfully. We recognize, as Anthony, I think you mentioned earlier, you get a sense of something more, a sense of what's possible about you, but you don't know how to get there. It's because you don't know your blueprint. So where StrengthsFinder and other assessments are good because it gives you more than what you have, the blueprint process, of course, I'm a little prejudiced, I'm a little biased. It's an in-depth study of your blueprint, and then it helps you use it, rebuild your life around it. And what's cool, when people know their blueprint, they actually don't have to change what they're doing. They change how they're doing it. It's the biggest difference in the world. It's just the coolest thing ever.
Well, it sounds exciting.
Yeah, I think so. Thanks for asking.
Well, thanks for being on our show, Tammi. It's we're honored to have you, and thanks for sharing this great wisdom. And there's many things that I wrote down that I'm going to start incorporating, and so hopefully our listeners can learn from that as well, from what you taught. So thanks again, Tammi.
My pleasure. As I really believe with all of our blueprints, it's not ours. In fact, I'll leave you with a quote. It was in a birthday card that I received quite a few years ago. Beautiful picture of the moon. And it said, the best thing about the moon is that its light is not its own. I believe that about all of us. So you're welcome. Super happy to be here. I'm just doing my job as shining the light that's not my own.
Well said.
Whoa, just drop the mic right there.
Well said, Tammi.
Thanks.
Tammi, thanks so much. We appreciate you showing up.
It's been a joy. Thank you, guys.
Now go make it a fantastic day.
Take care.